Cozy Here With You by miloqu. Chapter 1, Sleep in the Sun. Bakugos' point of view. I walked down the pathway, hands in my pockets, enjoying the sun. It was Sunday, and tomorrow we had school again, so today I was getting as much sun as I could. I stopped as I heard a tired voice from behind me, and then something placed its hand on my shoulder. Suki. I turned my head to see Eijiro Kirishima, my best friend. The under area of his eyes were dark, and his eyes themselves were narrow. His hair was kind of messy, and today he hadn't spiked it up, like he usually does. He moved his hand down my arm and linked it with mine. Before I could get a word out, he placed his head on my shoulder, pushing up against my side and closing his eyes. Kirishima? I muttered, watching him break in and out, stood next to me, holding on to me. No response. I moved my free hand up to his hair and ran my fingers through it to neaten it out. His mouth opened slightly, not exactly frowning, nor was he smiling, showing his sharp teeth. As my fingers ran through his hair, I felt him relax more, and a smile appeared on his face. "Did you sleep at all last night?" I asked, moving my hand slightly away to hide my blush. I bit my lip and moved my eyes to him as he slowly looked up at me. I think so." "You think so?" I screamed, turning my head back to him. "What do you damn mean, you think so?" I gripped tighter onto his hand, still running my fingers through his hair. He chuckled as I yelled, He moved his head from my hand, dropping it to my side. "I did," he muttered. I didn't believe him, not one bit. Our hands stayed clasped together tightly. His head was looking down to the floor. "Dumb hair, if you're not getting enough sleep, just come see me. I can help you, I guess." I shrugged, trying not to startle him. He smiled slightly and looked up at me. I'll be fine." He giggled slightly and closed his eyes tightly. Tilting his head and showing off his teeth, I scoffed. "Fine, want to walk with me then?" I shrugged and looked down at my feet. He giggled at me and nodded, placing his hand that was originally linked with mine on the back of his neck. As we walked in the heat, I remember where his hand had been not that long ago. That exact position we stood in ran through my head over 1,000,000 times. His head on my shoulder, his hand linked with mine. "Suki?" Eijiro asked, looking at me. "Why is your face all red? And your smile looks so soft." I felt my face go more red and the smile on my face drop. My eyes widened. I didn't even think about my physical reaction to that. "Shut up, dumb hair," I yelled, looking away. He giggled again. My anger calmed as I looked over to him, smiling out in front of himself. I put my hand out, but cut myself off. He looked to me and I shrugged and grunted. "Doesn't matter," I muttered. "We should go back." I pushed my phone out of my pocket and checked the time. "I'm hungry." I looked over and realized Eijiro was pressed up against the wall, his eyes shut. I giggled, grabbing him and pulling him up. I pulled him around to my back and grinned. The sun's still beating down on my head as I walked back to the dorms, the sleeping redhead on my back. His snores were soft and gentle, kind of cute as well. "Ka-chan, hi." Deku smiled at me. Ochaka cuddled into him, eating a cake pop. I heard Eijiro stir and almost dropped him from my back before gently placing him down and walking forwards. "What happened?" Eijiro muttered, rubbing his eyes. I kept walking, attempting to listen to what they said to him. "Bakugo brought you in. I guess you fell asleep," Araka said right after swallowing the last of her cake pop. My eyes darted back to Eijiro, sitting down next to Deku and talking to them. Their voices muffled as they chatted. Eijiro looked back at me and waved. My heart fluttered as he smiled at me. I rolled my eyes and turned my head back to the lift I was just about to go in. As I reached my door, my heart beat faster and faster. By the second, I saw Denki walking down the hall with Sero. They were talking happily. I gulped and ran into my room, slamming the door behind me. I sighed and lay down on my bed, my head slightly down in the pillow. Why? I yelled as quietly as I could into my pillow. My yells were muffled and my heart raced. I curled over and grabbed the other pillow that was on my bed, hugging it. Why him? Why couldn't it be a girl? Could it? I sighed. If they found out. I teared up, gripping tightly onto my pillow. He's just a friend. I sighed. And I'm just his. My heart beat fast as I closed my eyes, burying my head into the pillow. Just thinking about him, the way he smiles, the way he talks, the way his hand felt in mine, makes me feel soft and vulnerable. The memory of his hand in mine calmed me. Kirishima, I muttered as I drifted off to sleep. I love you. End of chapter 1.